Thank you so much. I am Daniel Lichis, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of several books, no other than Mr. Simon Yates.
Morning, mate.
Good morning, Mr. Simon, and welcome back. And again,
Cheers.
can you please introduce yourself? Cheers.
G'day, everybody. I'm Simon Yeats, an author slash wandering misfit, originally from Australia, living in the States at present. And let's say, as Daniel said, the author of several books that are currently out on Amazon and Barnes and Noble.
Yes, yes, yes. And today we're gonna talk about your debut book. What inspired you to make or to write this book? My second
This
life.
This book is centers around a major tragedy that is still ongoing in my life, but the start of the book, the first half of the book, is all about other mini tragedies or mini traumatic events of my life, starting from when I was attacked by a kangaroo when I was 7, and my dad had to rescue me, to a near fatal car accident, uh, to the time I had to jump off a cliff and a mountain when the weather suddenly became very inclement and I was at risk of freezing to death on the side of a mountain in New Hampshire. So to save my life, I had to jump off a cliff. And the car accident that nearly ended my life. So just some very traumatic and not only physical but also some emotional traumatic events in my life that makes up the first half of the book, and all those set the stage for what happens in my life in the second half when my son is kidnapped, and how all of that shit that went on in the first half of my life is what's keeping me afloat now in the second half.
So this will be your biography, Mr. Yates.
Yeah, more or less. It didn't start out as being a biography. It was just a way of writing. I was very, very depressed one night, very literally suicidal, and I started to write a suicide note, and I just kept writing through the night just to keep me from jumping off my balcony. Um, and that sort of got me into writing, and I have been working on this book for 13 years. Just as it's been come out in several forms, and I've just never been happy, never really told the story how I wanted it to be told. And now I think now that I've been able to settle down on my life's been a bit of a shambles for 10 years, the first 10 years, and I was able to finally pull myself together and write the story again in a way that I think would appeal to people and hopefully tug at their heartstrings.
My second life, how many chapters are there?
Great question. I need to check. 37, 56, 57, 59, 60, probably 64, 63. Some of them are pretty short. There may be 2 or 3 pages. Um, uh, it's not no chapter would be above 8 pages, I would say. So lots of breaks just to give people breathing space, just to go, holy
What?
fuck, and then
Yes.
keep on reading.
So what is your favorite chapter in my second
Uh,
life?
my favorite chapters is probably a couple early on where I just talk about the effect my father's had on my life, the inspiration that he's gave me as being someone who wasn't afraid of taking risks and being strong. He's a uh, you know he's my idol. He's the most the strongest, most smartest person in the world to me. And many people who know me, who've seen me around my dad, always sit there and say, "Wow, I can see how much you love your father." Um, and that's what breaks my heart even more about losing my own son, is that my son doesn't get to feel that love, incredible love that I have for him, or see the love that I have for my dad, and just how strong that is to help you in moments of need, which any person in this world is going to have moments when they are desperate for some comfort, and it doesn't come from, to me, it doesn't come from someone standing there saying, "Oh, you're a good person," whatever. It comes from internally, from you knowing, "Wow, I know that my family, my dad, my mum, they love me," and that's what keeps you sane.
Very well said, Mr. Simon. And can you please read that chapter for us?
Ah, how dog's going nuts here. How does a second life differ from a first? My story of reaching the second will demonstrate it perfectly for those languishing in the latter. I guarantee the perception of your life will never be the same after reading about it. What did it take for me to get to a second life? Was it an occasion of cheating death? Was it multiple occasions of evading the Grim Reaper? Was it being arrested and thrown in jail for no reason? Perhaps a better question might be, how much do I love my child? What am I willing to go through to be in my child's only life? Until recently, I had never even heard of this saying by Confucius. But when a person sees something that resonates with a chord in their heart, they feel it. I felt it like an earthquake. Before then, I had never given any thought to who I might have ever met that I would consider was living in a second life. Yet this would seem to be our very point of being. While there have been many occasions in my existence when I have felt like the world is against me, the true nature of life often seems a cruel device. Callous, savagely unforgiving, and the puppeteer of fate in control of all our lives does not seem to care that we do not want it to be this way. How many people would admit that they are suffering during their first life? Rhetorical question. We all are. Some more than others, but we all are. Not surprisingly, then, that humanity thrives on the ever-unfolding tragedies around us. The devastation of the tsunami in Thailand, the O.J. Simpson trial, World War II concentration camps, the collective work of the Cure and the Smiths. If it bleeds, it leads. This is what people want to see. But the hordes in their first life are primarily concerned with the suffering of the mighty. However, many of us are not mighty. Most of us are ordinary, and the suffering in our first life is done in silence.
Very well said, Mr. Simon. Thank you for sharing your talents to the world. So, if you want to revise my second life, which part of the book you want to revise?
Revise?
Yes.
Mate, I would love to go back. I couldn't give a shit about all the crap that happened to me in the first part of my life. The moment my son, that I realized I was never getting my son back after he was abducted, I would do anything in the fucking world to change that moment. I've had to live with that moment. I've had to live with the decision that I made to, in my opinion, save his life, because I thought my ex-wife would kill him if I stopped them leaving the country. And so I have thought about that over and over again, that whether I would have done something more to stop her leaving the country with him, knowing that it could have put his life at risk. Um, I have no idea what the outcome would have been, whether it would have been as bad as what I thought. Um, but seeing as the what I've suffered for the last 14 years and what he's suffered, I wish that I could go back in time and make a different decision, or be strong and somehow find a way to protect him if she was going to kill him, so that his life wouldn't have turned out the way it has for the last 14 years.
So, how did you come up with the title of your book, My Second Life?
So I'm a rehab specialist, and I got contacted by the father of a young boy who was struck by lightning while at the beach, and his spinal cord was burnt to a crisp. And he was every expert in the world said your son will never be able to walk and never be able to function again. And he contacted me after seeing some of the work that I have done with other patients, some of the miracles I've performed, and he said, "Please, can you help me?" And I've got his son up walking again against all the odds. And he said the way I went about it reminded him of a saying that, this is the saying, which is the in the introduction of the book, we all have two lives, and the second one begins when we realize we have one. And he was the one who introduced me to the idea of a second life. He said, so many other people we went and saw couldn't give a shit about my son. They just wrote us off, said he'll never walk again. You were the only one that did anything to help him. And I said, yeah, it's because of what has happened to my own son. I can't imagine you as a father being there and being helpless like I am. Why wouldn't I do everything I could to help you? His story is in the book, actually, and he was the one who said, like, you are living in your second life. And that was the first I ever heard of that saying, and that's what became the title of my book.
Well done, Mr. Simon. So, what do you hope readers will take away from My Second Life?
Cherish every day you have. If you are a child and you're around your parents, cherish every moment you're with them. If you're a parent around your child, cherish every moment you have with them. Some of us didn't get that luxury or didn't get that basic element in our life. I went to boarding school when I was very young, and even though it was a great character building experience, I have suffered and missed out on a lot, not being around my father as much as I wish I could. Coming towards the end of his life now, to not be around my own son now, it breaks my heart every single fucking day. I wake up every single morning almost being pissed off that I'm still alive. Um, and I just want to have 5 minutes with my son to tell him how much I love him, to show him how much I love him. And I'm not given that opportunity. And so if you have that opportunity and you don't take it, then trust me, when it's taken from you, there are no do-overs. Okay. And the one thing this world suffers from, the people in this world suffer from, is that no one realizes just how fragile life is, or how fragile things such as being around your friends and being around people who love you again, can all be taken from you in an instant, you know. And trust me, to live the life that I've had to lead for the last 14 years, I would never want it on anyone, not even my worst enemy. It is fucking horrible. It is fucking horrible, And I see people every day. I mean, I work in hospitals. Everyone at the end of their life has so many regrets. Oh, I wish I'd done this. Oh, I wish I'd spent more time with whatever. Everybody. There isn't a single person who's just on the doorstep of death who doesn't go, oh, did everything I wanted to do. No one is like that. You never get back the moments uh, uh, that you waste in your life at the end of it. So, for God's sake, make the most out of every day. Make the most out of every time you have with your parents, your children, because it is going to end one day.
Yes. And time is gold, people. Say always I love you to your loved ones, especially your kids. So before we go on, Mr. Simon, I want to please do thank you, Fidgepot, for being number 3 on the best of the art book podcast. Thank you so much for being number 3, and being part of this list is a big recognition for me. So, Mr. Simon, can you share a memorable moment from your writing journey for your biography, My Second Life?
The memorable moment would be when I jumped off. Here we go. When I jumped off the cliff. There was there's a mountain in New Hampshire where people climb up with their skis, and it's literally a sheer drop, and everyone skis down it. It's like a rite of passage for people in the hardy people in the northeast of the US. And I climbed up to the ridge on this mountain, and then realized, how the hell am I going to get down? And then the weather turned, and I had to jump off the cliff. And someone had given me a ski pole to use as a brake to help me uh, slow myself down, so I wouldn't crash into rocks, because there are all these rocks at the very bottom that if you don't stop, you're going into those rocks and you're going to be killed. And the joy I had so much fear. I mean, I didn't jump. I basically, the ledge gave way a little bit and I ended up falling, sitting on the edge. I don't think I could have done it. I would have just perished sitting on top of it. I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I was so fucking happy at the bottom when I was like, I did it. I survived. Um, yet again, that was probably the first near death I've had in my life, and I've had about 8 or 9 since then. But I remember just going, "Wow, I'm so lucky." And again, same thing. Relish every moment that you're alive because you never know when it's going to be taken from
Yes. And probably God said, you need to write this book first, My Second Life, to inspire other people. So, Mr. Simon, what will be your advice for those people
you.
having this thought of a suicidal?
Call someone, speak to someone. That's all it takes. Don't be ashamed. For fuck's sake, you know. Uh, uh, even if you call it, a suicide prevention line, the people on the end are amazing and they are well trained to be. Never be ashamed to admit that you're struggling. Um, I have zero fear of telling anyone. I call my friends all the time when I'm having down moments, and all my friends understand and they know. And I do it the same thing. If my phone rings at 2 o'clock in the morning, I always answer it. I don't even look at the phone number. It could be a scam call. I always answer my phone because I never know if that is a friend of mine. And I've told all my friends, call me any hour of the day, anywhere you are in the world. Okay, I will always pick up the phone and speak to you. There are people like me out there who value human life, that they will, be an ear for you to talk to, and that's all it takes. That's all it takes. That's all these people want. Okay, that's all. That's all you would want if you were in that situation. You just want someone to talk to make you feel worthy. Okay, I've
Yeah.
fucking been there. I know what it is like. Uh,
Yeah.
Sadly, the night that I was calling people, no one answered the phone. No one answered the phone. I called people every place in the world, and I couldn't get someone to pick up the phone. You know, I have no idea whether it was just bad luck, but out of 50 calls, no one answered the phone. So I came real close to ending my life because of the fact of just not only the bad feeling, the bad mood that I was in at the time, but just how not pick up the phone just made the problem worse and worse, and I felt more and more depressed. So you know, if your phone rings, answer it. If it's a scam artist, just hang up. But if it's your mate and they're in need, for God's sake, be there for someone else. You may not do anything else in your freaking life, but you will remember the time that you answered the phone call when your mate was calling and you gave them, were there for them, and they will be indebted to you for the rest of their life if you do that.
Yes, definitely. People help us, help other people survive in any situation they are facing. What kind of readers do you believe will connect most with your My Second Life and why?
Uh, I've never given that any thought. I never had a particular audience in mind when I was writing it, um, because it could be anyone, and I think mental health affects everyone. And I'm actually amazed. I'd never even heard of the term mental health. I'd never even given it any thought until, not even before, but until I had that night when I was super depressed, and then it suddenly became amazing how I suddenly was seeing and hearing about, wow, a friend of mine from high school ended his own life. I mean, wow, this person was struggling. And even members of my own family were struggling. I've had phone calls from extended people of my family that I didn't even know. My dad's cousin, who asked me to speak to a friend of his in England because he was struggling, and there's people I didn't even know, and I sort of realized, fuck, everyone is struggling. At some point, everyone is going to struggle. So anyone could read this book, and if you sit there and go, yeah, that's never going to happen to me, guaranteed you're in fucking bigger trouble than anyone else, because it's the people who think, as I did, this would never happen to me. Okay, that you will be caught unawares more than anyone else. It's something that everyone should be. It's the most important thing in the world, and it's something that no one talks. Everyone talks about the physical health. Everyone talks about their monetary health. No one talks about mental health, but it's something that is you are living with, and you are with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You cannot get away from it. So, I say, not everyone's going to have their kid abducted. Not everyone's going to be teased when they were, a young person like I was. Not everyone's going to have life and death experience, but you will have some element of your life that can weigh on you like there is nothing else. And I went to a seminar once where the guy told me it's the most chilling thing I've ever fucking heard in my life. People commit suicide when the pain of living is less than the pain of dying. So you think about that for a moment, and just can you that someone, and it's not physical pain, it is mental and emotional pain. That the pain of just be breathing every day, okay, and having to face up to yourself and to your life is less appealing than killing yourself. Okay, it is horrifying that people can be put in that situation, or be forced in that situation. Anyone who would tease someone such that they committed suicide, trust me, zero sympathy, electric chair, fucking get rid of them off the face of the planet. You know, that element of society, I would have zero sympathy. For someone that could be that callous to not value someone else's life, that they could actually, hurt a person to the point that they would want to kill themselves. That is just fucking. There is no crime worse on the face of the earth to me. You know,
Yes. So, Mr. Simons, are there any plans for a follow-up for this book, My Second Life?
not until I get my son back. You um, yeah, and I spend every day wondering what, when he turns 18, I know already that my ex-wife has poisoned him against me. How I'm going to be able to get in his life, I have no fucking idea. I will find a way, do whatever I need to do. But, I still have 2.5 more years before that event happens. That she has perfectly set up so that I cannot go and see him, that I cannot she controls all communication with him. I can't contact him through the school. I cannot get in contact with him in any way. So I have no idea. This is the life I have to look forward to for the next 2.5 years. And you can't even imagine, the shit that she has pulled out. She has hired someone to kill me. She has told lies to the judge and the police. She has gone and filed lawsuits against me, making up stories every which way, and nothing has ever been done uh, against her. Um, the stories are absolutely fucking mind-boggling. What has gone on in this case, and so I have no idea, and that's what I've got to face up to the next 2.5 years, and it is simply my anger that's going to get me through it.
Well, Mr. Simon, good luck for that. So, what would be your advice for your aspiring authors out there?
I will say that I think it was in our last podcast, I wrote my other funny books after I wrote this book, just to keep myself, uh, to look back at my life and say, I've had a pretty fucking amazing life. I have. I would challenge anyone on the planet to say you would not have had the experiences that I have had, seeing the world, and that is what keeps me going. And the idea that one day my son could get to enjoy those same incredible experiences, um, that is my dream for him. Um, uh, like I say, we all have limited time on this earth. When you get to die, you're always going to say, "I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd done this." Um, and that is what I've been lucky enough through my near-death experiences to be able to go. You know what? Yeah, I have gone out and had, experienced life to the fullest. Uh, any chance I could. Um, that's the my current state of my life.
So, Mr. Simon, lastly, what next for you as an author?
Uh, right now, the next step is promotion of my books. I always, every time I go back and revisit my second life, I've added a couple of pages with more stuff that has happened since I originally finished the book in July of last year. There have been some other stupidity involved with the courts that I've added. Hopefully, I'll write the fifth book of my less known travel series with some funny stories about my travel in the next, year or two. That will be the next journey with my writing.
Mr. Simon, thank you for sharing your talents to the world, and more books to come.
Cheers, Daniel.
Cheers. More to come, people. See you soon. So, give me a minute. So, Mr. Simon, I can call you back because I cannot stop the audio. So, please, I will just end this one.